5 challenges you're going to face as a new merchant mariner. In this career as a merchant mariner, there are many obstacles that we must go through just to simply get on the water. So the first challenge you are going to face in this journey in your maritime career is simply getting a freaking job. I know so many people who just struggle to get on the water. They have all their credentials ready, STCW, MMC, Quick ready, passport ready, everything ready to go, but just finding the job is the hardest part. Some people don't want to go the union route to where you got to walk in a hole and just, you might have a job there waiting for you. But even then, you're not always guaranteed a job because it's seniority based and you can get beat out by someone with a higher card than you in that union. So you may be sitting for weeks waiting for a job. And also on the other end, if you are applying to companies directly through Indeed, LinkedIn, or specific companies' websites, Crowley, Maersk, whatever it may be, you might find the challenge of never getting a call back from that company. Someone who you're throwing your resume out left and right. I've been there. I've done it 100 times. I'm throwing out my resume to fucking 100 companies and I don't get a single answer back. I'm calling fucking the recruiting of the company directly. I'm calling them directly almost every day. And they're like, yeah, we have you in the system. We got you in the system. And? And? What's going on? I want a job. You say, I see the application. I see the job opening. The job listed on your website. I mean, I'm applying. I'm qualified. Why aren't you contacting me back? Getting a job is the hardest thing to get past as a new merchant mariner. Once you get into the system, you get into the flow of it, after you have your first ship, they start rolling. I don't find that as big of a problem for me now after I've been in the industry for so long. I know the ins and outs. I know how to help people get on the ships. I do it myself. I know where to look. I know who to talk to. And once you start getting that sea time and you get more advanced with the credentials, you get jobs a lot easier. Without any ship experience, you just have your credentials. Sometimes it could be a challenge to get on your first initial ship. So with that, what I can say is harass whoever you can. Apply for as many jobs as you can, get into the union hall, talk to the people behind the desk, ask about what's available, get on the first ship you see, the first ship that's available to you, get on it, because you need to get that sea time to advance in this career. It may take some time to get your first job, but don't let this get you down. Don't try to step away from this industry just because it's taking you some time. It's just getting the ball rolling in this industry takes a little bit of time. But once you get it going, it's worth the wait, honestly. And if you're interested in life as a merchant mariner, join Sailors Connect to unlock exclusive resources, expert guidance to your first job, and a supportive network of new mariners to help you succeed in your maritime career. Link in description. Next challenge you will face, and this will continue along throughout your whole career if you don't find the proper way to handle this, is the isolation and the loneliness you will face. Being on a ship in the middle of the ocean for months at a time with the same 20-something people can get very, very isolating, especially if you don't get along with everybody on the ship. Lots of people might spend majority of their off time sitting in their room. Now, that might not sit well with a lot of people. I know plenty of people who are very extroverted in their way of experiencing life and being around people. Having to sit in your room for 8-10 hours a day, using up all your off time, can be really hard. It is not good for you mentally to be stuck in a room for hours at an end. Being on a ship, you are limited to where you can go, obviously. You can they'll let you out on deck while you're doing an ocean crossing. Sometimes they won't. If you're in bad weather, they won't let you outside at all. But when it's nice outside, you get to go outside on the ship and do whatever you want. You get to go to the gym. You can go to the food area. Yeah, those are all great. But you can only do that by yourself for so long. You need people around you to enjoy yourself. And lots of times, people on ships don't want to do it. Lots of these sailors who've been sailing for plenty of years just want to do their job and go back into the room. They're just waiting to get off to go home. They're not there to enjoy themselves. And that's a fucking shame. I don't understand. If I'm out there for 6, 8 months out of the year, I want to enjoy myself. I want to be around people and enjoy myself. Sometimes people take work on a ship way too seriously, and you just don't get to enjoy yourself. And it's a shame. It really is. So my advice to you there would be to just try your best to make friends and to interact with people. Connection is the most important thing you can do. Connecting with people, connecting with other mariners is an amazing way to continue being happy on a ship. Also, picking up some type of hobby could be great. Reading a book, maybe watching some movies, but at the end of the day, loneliness and isolation is a hard thing to battle. And the reality of it, you will face it on a ship as a new merchant mariner and throughout your career in the maritime industry. Third challenge you will face as a new merchant mariner: the reality of the emergency responses. Some people just think, yeah, I have to get this firefighting training, I have to get this lifeboat training to get the credentials to get on a ship, but they don't think about the reality of actually having to do it. There were plenty of times where I had to suit up in full fire gear in the middle of the night. Fire alarm went off throughout the whole ship, waking up the entire crew. I was one of the designated people to suit up, and you have to go on air, you have to get the water ready, and you have to do all that shit. Even if you were, like I am, half asleep. Half asleep. I was fully fucking asleep, and I was butt-ass naked, too. I can guarantee you. When I'm sleeping, I'm naked. I don't give a shit if I'm on a ship. I'm butt-ass naked. And I had to get from being completely naked into a fire suit, and they prefer it in under 10 minutes. I did it about 5. I can get dressed pretty quick. So in about 5 minutes, I had to get up out of bed, butt naked, get dressed, and get into a fire suit, which happened to be 2 floors down the fire suit, get dressed, and get to the station where the fire was. Luckily, most of the time, it's not a big fire to where it's a challenge. Lots of times, it's just smoke coming out of the dryer lint or smoke coming out from a microwave or machinery coming from the engine room, bringing up smoke to the fire detectors, but you never know. There are plenty of stories I've heard where there were fires engulfed throughout the house on the ship. Throughout the living quarters on the ship were just almost completely on fire. Everyone had to evacuate the house and fight the fire from the outside in. It's brutal, and it's true. And lifeboat. You have to take that seriously. When you guys are running your firefighting lifeboat drills on a ship, try to take it seriously, because you never know when that situation is going to arise. I know I've heard plenty of stories. I luckily haven't had to witness an abandoned ship situation yet, but I have heard plenty of stories of situations where, for an example, on a car carrier, they had electric batteries in the cars, and once they caught fire, you can't put them out. Those electric batteries will burn. They were burning under the fucking water after the ship sank. The batteries were still burning. The ship was still on fucking fire. Underwater. Crazy. Crazy story. But the reality of these drills and the emergency procedures, you gotta take it seriously. And you will have to be in that situation at some point. Man overboard drill. I haven't personally had to have dealt with a man overboard situation, thank goodness. But I've heard over the radio multiple times where ships nearby were having to run a man overboard situation because someone fell off the ship. And it fucks up the whole traffic of all the ships running through. It was in the Straits of Gibraltar. It was ruined the whole traffic zone. Everyone had to pull off the side, move out of the way, keep a 500-meter, maybe 500-meter distance approximately around the ship designated area where the person fell off. But it's just crazy. It's real, and these are another major challenge that I guarantee you, that you will face as a merchant mariner. You will see these things way more than you want to see. On my last ship, I had to get up for a firefighting situation where the alarm actually went off, it wasn't a drill, where the alarm actually went off, I can say about 5 times. In just a few months, 5 times where I had to jump out of bed and get suited up. And yes, I was naked every single time. For this next challenge, this actually goes into play very well with getting up in the middle of the night for the fire drill, is the fatigue that your body will have and the sleep deprivation that you will face on a ship. As a watchstander, AB, I have a very fucked up sleep schedule compared to when I'm home. I wake up at midnight or 11:45 and I work from midnight to 4 in the morning. Then I go to sleep from 4 to 8 in the morning. And then from 8 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon, I'm doing deck work outside with the bosun. And then from 12 in the afternoon to 4 in the afternoon, I am on the bridge again. And then from 4 in the afternoon to 12 in the morning, that is my sleep time. But, of course, in that time period, dinner is being served at 5 o'clock. So I have to go down and eat dinner. So that cuts about 2 hours into my sleep. Dinner's at 5:30. I probably finish around 6:30. Gotta get a shower in. If I want to go to the gym at that point, I'm probably going to bed at 6:30, approximately 6:30, if I'm lucky, at nighttime. So 6:30, wake up at 11:45, 11:30. But that is assuming that is a perfect night. That is a perfect situation. Sleep is on point. I just named about how many times did I have to wake up for a fire drill in the middle of the night. Completely screws up my whole sleep schedule. Mooring the ship up to dock can happen at any time of the day. It can happen at any freaking time. They're not always going to do it in the day when everyone's awake, because everyone has different sleeping schedules on the ship, so people's sleep schedules are going to get fucked up. So, the mooring situation will mess up your sleep every time. It could be during your deck work, it could be during your watch standing, it doesn't matter. If you're in the engine room, you might not always get affected by mooring, but you do have to monitor the engine, obviously, when we're going in and out of port, making sure everything is, the RPMs are all good. If there's ever bunkering, the engineers always get screwed up with sleep when it comes to bunkering. So, sleep deprivation, fatigue on your body, lots of physical labor, mooring physical labor, deck work physical labor. Engineers they're always working. They're always busting their ass. So, steward's department, they're always busting their ass too. They're going through, when we get stores, they're fully involved with the store situation. They have a lot more of a healthy sleeping schedule because they cook breakfast in the morning, and then once dinner is cooked at night, they're done and they get a normal night's sleep. But they still bust their ass and they're still working long ass days, and 6 months of 12, 13-hour days your body will run into fatigue no matter what position you're running to the ship. Long term, it's not very healthy for you. Making sure you have your time off and you're getting your rest, and even while you're on the ship working, make sure you get your rest when you can, because there are lots of times when you don't have the opportunity for it. So get the rest while you can. This is the harsh reality of working on ships in general. Now, not every ship will face this. Not every company will treat you like this. But you can possibly, if you're working overseas on these cargo vessels that travel the world, there is a very high chance of you to get stuck on the ship past your due date when you were supposed to get off. Very likely. There's been many times when I was supposed to get off, I had to run across the Atlantic again, and it held me up for weeks, if not months. The longest I went past date was 2 months after I was supposed to get off. That is a major factor that you have to consider. Major challenge that you will face. Now, if you go inland, you won't face that as much, because you won't have any problems with the international. You may have problems with your relief. That is a huge actual factor when it comes to shipping. Lots of these positions, if not every single position on a ship, you need to be relieved. You need someone to come on the ship and replace you before you can leave. So, what if they can't get someone to relieve you? You're stuck on the ship. What if your relief, who was supposed to come on this day, gets hit by a fucking car? You're stuck on the ship. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. I know a couple times when the captain was supposed to get relieved and his relief captain was supposed to come in and someone died in his family and he had to stay home because of a family incident. That's on very understandable reason to stay home. But the captain's on the ship, he had to do 2 more months. That's the reality of it. So there are these challenges. I hope you take them into consideration. These things may have sounded bad, but I can guarantee you this career is worth it. To everything that is bad, there is good. I still love this career. I still love my job. I highly recommend getting into it. Those are some things I just wanted to tell you. Had to let you know I'm here to teach you things so you can learn about your future career in the maritime industry and your journey as a new merchant mariner. And if you're serious about becoming a merchant mariner and you want to work with me directly, join Sailors Connect. Link in description. So on that note, sail on.